Yuji's domain expansion is going to be the center of attention in JJK Chapter 266, and the biggest thing that fans want to see is how Yuji incorporates the shrine technique into his domain. Fans know that his shrine technique is very different from that of Sukuna. While Sukuna makes use of knives and flame, Yuji is seen making use of scissors. His cuts are very precise, and at the same time, he marks the things that he cuts first. This essentially separates his cursed technique from that of Sukuna, and it means that Yuji is going to utilize his technique differently. Inside his domain, Yuji could likely cut Sukuna similar to how he can cut him outside. However, the only difference is going to be Yuji's range, speed, and the intensity with which he cuts his target. On top of that, Yuji's cuts could be relentless and coming from all directions, which would mean that even a skilled sorcerer such as Sukuna would have trouble dealing with him. Above all, fans know that Yuji can combine the powers of cleave and dismantle with his soul-damaging attacks. This essentially means Yuji ends up creating a soul dismantle or a soul cleave, which is what he would likely be using against Sukuna inside the domain. If these attacks are launched relentlessly, like Malevolent Shrine sees Sukuna unleash a barrage of indiscriminate attacks, then there is absolutely no way that Sukuna can stand in the path of Yuji in the upcoming chapter, especially knowing that Sukuna absolutely cannot dodge. Then, one also needs to take into consideration the fact that Yuji could have additional power to utilize inside his domain. Sukuna has the power of furnace to unleash on his enemies inside the domain. This is only accessible to him, and he makes use of both cleave and dismantle, which then gives him access to the flames to utilize against his enemies and incinerate them. For Yuji, things should be somewhat similar, but instead of flames of furnace, he could have something else to utilize. Hopefully, JJK Chapter 266 will clarify the start, along with many others, for the fans. Of course, fans might be wondering if Yuji can permanently defeat Sukuna in JJK Chapter 266. While he clearly stated that he had the power to kill Sukuna and gave him a last warning in the previous chapter, it would be too early for the King of Curses to fall in JJK Chapter 266. Sukuna is the biggest villain of the series, after all, and even he should last a few chapters inside Yuji's domain. Furthermore, if the battle ends in the next chapter, then it wouldn't give fans enough time to see how Yuji's domain works and what it is all about. As such, JJK Chapter 266 will most likely showcase Yuji's abilities inside the domain and, at the same time, set up the big attack for the next chapter. Either way, things are going to be incredibly exciting in Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 266 and the ones following that, and fans simply need to sit back and enjoy Yuji's growth, along with how he goes on to defeat Sukuna for good.